Okay, finally, let's have a look at my favorite fractal type, and that is the Newton. Like in one or two of the earlier exercises, I'm not sure how far I'll take this, but I'll certainly take you to a few layers to give you a feel for why I love creating Newtons so much. Yeah, I may not sort of speak as much as I have in previous lessons, so I need to think about what I'm doing. So if you can try to follow what I'm doing on screen, that would be cool. So I'm going to go into image size, make this a bit bigger to start with. Let's maintain height ratio, go up to about 1,000. Okay, I'm going to go to formula, click on the browser, select the Newton formula, and the first thing I'm going to do is change the outside coloring to square root. Okay, makes it much easier to see. I'm going to actually drag out all the panels here, because see, I want to make a bit more room for myself on the screen. There you go. Actually, I think that was Shift F5. I'm going to close that for the moment. Okay, we can bring it over here. Right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go create another layer. Okay, I'm going to change the outside coloring of this to light enough. My formula DMJ. Not good enough. Okay, might even work with this. It's a bit simple. I think I did one of my images, one of my floral images with it just set on default like this. Even at that, I could possibly even use that layer, so I'm going to leave that alone for a minute. I'm going to go back to the layers, create another layer. Okay, before I go anywhere else, I'm going to change the variables to track. Okay, and immediately I get something different, something nice. Okay, possibly work with real part of Z in this instance. I don't want these here for them and I can use them from the underlying there if I absolutely need them. Angle to Z. Let's go back to keep real part of Z. Okay. Let's put this layer below the floral layer and see what we get. Let's change the blend mode of this layer. Okay, that's because I've got okay. I want change the blend mode of this layer. What I did actually, what I did is I moved the layer down, but I had the visibility of the top layer checked, which is why I couldn't see what was happening underneath. Okay, what I'm going to do, let me leave that on normal full at the moment and play with the gradient of it, or even the transfer function, just see what we get here. Okay, radically different. Let's turn off repeat gradient, see what we get. Cube. Okay, it's not much different. Cube root log. Okay, we can get something without flares here. Let's have a look at log, which has them. Cube root doesn't. So let's play with the gradient. We'll click, use the adjuster command J, drag down the saturation. Okay, let's go lumens up. Okay, no hue at all for the minute. Let me just see what we get. Let's try something radical here. Let's get rid of much of this light of this blue here. We right click in the opacity channel, link color and opacity. We'll drag one of the blue nodes down. Okay, having trouble selecting it. Okay, getting something interesting right there. Okay, now the white is a little too sharp. Okay, something like that. We could use these flowers as our. I'm going to redot that for the moment. Create another layer. Actually, copy the background layer on top of layer 2. Let's see what I can do with that. Okay, let's change the color of it. So, okay, something like that. Interesting. We could add another layer on top of that. Let's change the gradient altogether to something else. Replace. I'll go black and white for the moment. I can change it to psychedelic or whatever else I want after. Actually, even that's nice. So that's black. But I might just get rid of the blue and just go black. Yeah, let's get rid of the blue. Okay, let's have a look at the formula here. I want to probably work. Let's work with the flare there to see what we can do with this. Pick up the formula tab. Go with the exponent. Okay, and what I'm looking for, I like these kind of curvy newtons. You might have to play around a bit to see them. And get up to probably something like so. Okay, let's go back. Let's I want to just copy the formula to the layer below. I can always go backwards if necessary. Okay, let's have a look at one of the. Do a bit of exploring here. That could work. Well, that would work better for me, I think. So I'm going to go here. Okay, I'm going to command click drag. Might as well go ahead now at this point, and I'm going to copy the formula to the layers below as well. Just see how we look, just to see if yeah, okay, it's all lining up, which is great. Okay, so let's again. I've lost a little bit of that contrast I had, so I'm going to go back here and play with the gradient again. Possibly even something like that. Layer 2, I don't think it's doing anything for the moment, so let's get rid of this. Let's see what happens. Okay, bring that down a bit. So I'm going to start naming the layers now. So the background is just background smooth. Okay, we'll name this. This is also smooth mandelbrot. What did I get rid of? Let me have a look here for a sec. Actually, no need to. Because I'm gonna add one or two more layers and change them anyway. So I'm gonna just call this uses mask. Nope. I want to click rename this. Not happening. Rename. Okay, I'm gonna call this hue adjust or saturation adjust. Saturation adjust. Okay, because it's really just a color change that's happening here. Layer 1 is our label enough. So right click rename. Layer enough. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to copy this layer. We're going to go back to, we have full opacity. Let's bring up a full gradient here. Okay. The opaque gradient because it's on top of everything else. We'll go outside. Let's have a look. We're in DMJ still. Have a look and see if there's anything interesting in here. Let's have a look at spiral. See if okay, that could be very good indeed. I like the look of that. It's dramatic looking. Let's have a look at a layer mode first of all. Okay, this is pretty much how I work. It's kind of, you know, as I said before, it's kind of hit and miss. There's no real science to what I do. it's just toning it up. Now it's starting to look nice, I think. What would this layer look like below that flower layer? Okay, probably looks better on top of it, I think. Let's add another layer of orbit traps and let's see if we can do something with these. This center here. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to go back and tweak the colors. So we'll go spiral. Actually, before I do that, let's have a look at one more. I'll go into LKM. There's usually a few options in here. We have a look. Iconic could be polar curves. We have a look at polar curves and possibly string art. So polar curves is there. Okay, it's definitely not having in lightning mode. Okay, that looks interesting. Let's change the flavor of the gradient. Okay, something's gotta give here. We'll have to change the blend mode to something like hard light or soft light. Hard light, soft light. I don't think I like the shape too much, so what I'm going to do is have a look at iterations. Let's have a look at this again in normal to see what changes it's making. Okay, probably not. Maybe we'll try the other one. I can play around with this and probably get something nice, but Asteroid String Art was the other one. So normal. Let's change the transfer function, see what we get. Okay, now different colorings behave very differently to one another. See, there's no change; it's just blue all the time here in this particular setup. You know, regardless of the transfer function, it's staying blue, so I'll have to play with the gradient or something to get it to work. Okay, let's see what happens with this. Again, if I want to use this, if I do something nice with it. Too fussy, probably. Okay, that could work for something abstract. Let's have a look what the options are here. First angle. Last image, I said very different in it. You know, change the coloring switch and it radically changes. How about that? It kind of looks very nice. You know, this could be. Okay, let's go back. That looks nice. I'm gonna have to change the flavor. All it's doing is adding a color by the looks of it. Okay, I don't see any kind of image at all in that. Okay. Okay, and that adds very heavy lines. So cube root. Okay, that could work. Much finer. So much finer lines again, just by changing the transfer function. But disappointingly, I don't think it's quite what I'm after. So I'm going to go. I mean, that's kind of nice in itself for another kind of fractal. You know, as we're working with a kind of a soft, flowery kind of feel here. This is much more of a heavy, abstract-looking thing. So kind of nice though. So I want to go back to orbit traps. Let's go to the standard version. We'll use the plugin coloring direct. Take the trap merge opacity up to full, up to 1. Let's get rid of the base color so we can see what we're doing. Okay. Okay, these could fit. I don't think I want. Let us change the. Just so instead of having a drop down list, so I can see icon tiles of the actual the flavors and shapes, I want to change the point in trap shape wrapper. Let's click on that to open up the browser. Let's go into, I think it's public. Okay, yeah. What I want is reb, R-E-B. We can go down to convolution, which I looked at before. I want to actually show you something here as well. We could plug in a set. We'll come to it in a sec. We might actually do a layer after this. I'm going to find something I want here, and then I'll put a layer on top. We'll decide whether to use it or not. So we are in again convoluted. I think I showed this in an earlier exercise. So where am I? Direct convolution, trap shape, not point. Okay, if I click on this, I can basically see now tiles of different shapes. Give me an idea, a better idea of what I want to use. Spiral. Use Ken Childress KCC. Something like circles. Okay, that could work. There's kind of a lot of them in the KCC. Limacon. How about polygonal or rose curve traps? Okay, this is also in Kerry Mitchell's set. So that's okay. That could work. Let's Command J, change the color of that. Okay, now again, I forgot. I open it all the time. I'm in one of these plug-in coloring, so I have to do this manually. So that's the blue. Okay, I'm gonna have to pick up the color. I have to see my layers for a sec. Okay, I'm gonna have to pick up the brightness of this too. Okay. So let us change the blend mode again. See what we got. We could even something like that. So multiply, drop the opacity. We've got this kind of nice sort of see-through. Let's. Okay, I'm not really happy where it's sitting. If I put it there, I'm not going to see it at all. So let's go back up to the top, change that blur mode again. Okay, even over it could work. It's very faint. Okay, something like soft light. Okay, let's leave it at soft light. Okay. I mean, the image is shaping up nicely at this point, so why knock it? What I wanted to do was, okay, let's copy this layer. Wanted to show you something different. We're in orbit traps. Okay, trap shape. This time I want to change I mean, I can go in here and basically adjust the drift on this and get this to look a lot nicer, but I just basically trying to demonstrate like the image making process, you know, patching it all together. You can play with the fine tuning, but you know, I showed you in earlier lessons like some of the things you can adjust. You can adjust the size, width, etc. Play with them all till you get comfortable and you find something you like. Here I wanted to change the convolution wrapper. Okay, I want to change this to, if I go into REB, okay, or RKB, this is Robert Bunny. Created a lovely set of plugins, basically. One here called Shape Collection in particular combines like the DMJ, Damien Jones, Ken Childress, and I think of some of Ron's all together under one roof. He's got different sort of flower shapes, etc. And this is how you access them all. The only drawback is once you go into this, you get drop down lists as opposed to thumbnails of you know, of what you're looking at. So it's trial and error. You just have to go through them one by one. So I'm going to click OK here. I haven't selected one. Let's select flower for a change. Okay. I was going to go shape, so we go flower. Let's Command J, change the hue. Again, it's not going to work because I'm in. Okay, so I mean, let's just, instead of actually going and tweaking, I said, because I want to have a really long tutorial. Okay, that's the blend mode is doing that. Soft white. Let's go up to normal. See where we are. So we've got white. Okay, something like that, which I really like. I can tone down the opacity if I need to. Okay, now you see where we've plugged in this. Originally we put under the trap shape wrapper, we had just point in here. We changed the layer underneath this to convolution, okay, and now we've changed convolution to trap shape wrapper. So we had trap position, and then in place of trap shape wrapper we had no. Rewind again. Where flower was point, and then point became convolution wrapper, and now it's flower. It's the flower plugin plugged into the wrapper. Yeah. Well, that's where you plug in your plugins, just under the trap shape wrapper. So we got shape 1. Okay, we can go in and tweak this shape, which I may do. It's kind of a nice shape. Okay, you can sort of build these up one on top of another and change the colors, whatever you want. That's another possibility, and another possibility, etc., etc. I mean, you can go down the houses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to one of those earlier ones that I kind of liked. I might tweak it a little bit. Okay, let's go to lobes. Okay, we could bring the lobes up to around whatever that is. What have I got here? 2. Okay. Bloom should make them a bit wider, a bit bigger anyway. Okay. Well, I didn't want to go there. Let's go. Bulge is what makes them wider. Bloom makes them go longer. Okay. So we can then go up to. Okay, okay, in the previous lesson I used under trap position, okay, I used trap scale to scale it up and down. Okay, instead this time we go into the coloring, flower, we'll use the trap threshold to scale it. Okay, so we go down with the trap threshold. Again, I'm not sure I like that shape now that I've done it. We go in with that. Let's reduce the opacity on that a bit. Okay, let's just have a look at different color modes. Do something like overlay, we'll get that. Now overlay disappears. Screen. Hard light. Okay, we're back to something like either normal. I could pick up the opacity. What we could do is just play with the gradients and just slightly tweak the actual opacity values in the opacity channel. Okay, so we're going from light blue to the darker blue here. So let's go. Just trying to make just the edges a bit softer. Okay. Actually, what is that doing? Okay, let's make it the center. Something like that. Okay, let's see what we have image wise. I may just call it a day at this. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Let's rotate it a little maybe. No, back. I think I was okay with the actual view more or less. Move it up a bit. Whoops. Rotate it just a touch. Okay, what I might do is, yeah, I'm gonna add one more layer of point on top just to put something in the middle of these flowers. So, okay, one more layer. What I'll even do is, I can stick with the plugin coloring, okay, which is in all its in all its detail, but not necessary. I'm just going to click go over traps because it's there, much easier, much quicker to do. Let's have a look what we have here. We want to go up to, we've got normal. Okay, again, this blue is where our orbit traps are going to be. Our point is going to be distance. Let's get rid of the opacity of this purple. Okay, this is again because we copied the layer up. Okay, we've got the nodes already there in the opacity channel because we've copied up a layer that we previously edited, and therefore its gradients just come up with it. So command click OK, and what I might do is, okay, I want something. I don't want something soft and right. I want something hard. Basically, I want something with a hard edge. Okay, like that. We can change the color now as well. Actually, what I can do here, because it's not a plugin, it's just a regular orbit trap. So I can go Command J, change the hue. Okay, I can do it all in here. It's much faster. Okay. Luminance. Okay, I'm going to leave it with that yellow. It's kind of nice and ethereal. Zoom up again. A little bit more. Let's have a look at what we've got layer-wise now. Okay, if I turn off this one. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm not sure. It's got a very graphic feel to it. I kind of like it. Let's see, spiral, radial scale. Okay, it's gonna brighten it, darken it. Okay, it's got away from it. I think I like that kind of contrast. I'm not sure if spiral is going to be the way to go. That's the problem. Okay, that could work better. It's a different transfer function. That's what I've got here. Okay, like that. Let's again. I'm going to go Command J. I think this is very close to something I'm going to call done. Hue. So I can go back onto. Okay, without murdering it. I wanted a green, but I don't think we're going to get that contrast in the green, so we might have to see if I go to green. Let's go back to take out the gradient we've got. If I turn down the brightness of this, turn down the luminance. Okay, how am I looking there? Okay, come up with the saturation stuff. Okay, I'm thinking this is close to a wrap. Okay, what way have we got to move? I've got to move one of those over that way. I don't know, maybe that was better orange, so let's go back, change it to orange. What I might even do here is cancel out of this and just right click, because it wasn't too bad. Selection only. Okay, luminance. Okay, something like that. Okay, I'm gonna save this off. As I said, that's kind of a quick newt. Kind of difficult to do when you're doing it as a fresh tutorial exercise. I mean, I kind of. Sort of get in the mood to do these, and every once in a while I kind of just rip with it, play with everything, as I said. Yeah, that there. I like it. It's on the base layer. It's not actually on 2 layers here, I think. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I mean, you can go ahead, play with it, or investigate, change the mappings or whatever. See, it's kind of a fun image. Let's just have a look at that. Okay, I'm not even sure if I have. Yeah, it's all in guessing. I mean, but I need to bring this up. Basically, I need to go back to, because I didn't basically do this at the start, which is a bit of a no-no. Things drastically improve when you go multipass off, particularly with Newton. As I said, it looks all broken up and scattered there. You get a lot more detail by doing this. So multipass off, multipass off. But anyways, I said that's really the final lesson I'm going to cover here in this course. As I said, it's kind of a lot. I've covered a lot basically over the series of the course, or how do you say, over the duration of the course. And I hope basically you've learned something out of it. It's kind of, as I said, it's not the easiest thing in the world to teach because it's such a vast program. Largely just by following the steps that I've been using. As I said in the lesson, you don't have to be a mathematician to produce sort of reasonable acceptable images of ultrafractal. I don't know if you agree. That could look a lot more dramatic. They're almost Terry Gilliam like a while ago, or something like that. So I've basically, in doing what I've just done, I've gone ahead and I've kind of lost that. What I should have done before I did all of that was to copy the position. Okay, let me see if I can do this still. I go to location, copy. Okay, then I go. Okay, I should be able to get my multipass on it. Instead of having to do it all again, and then I just go into my location tab. I go Command Alt V, 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 Command Alt V. Now we should be back to where we are. So now should be back to where we are with all that multipass. So when you actually come to render, okay, we haven't covered rendering, so I'll do it now basically. When you come to render that, you've got your as I said, your formula, your drawing method to multipass linear, and your periodicity set to off. You get a lot more detail and consistency in all the smaller parts of the fractal in the render. Now, as I haven't covered rendering, just address it here, okay? When you're drawing basically the fractal, when you're moving around, for example, keep an eye on the status bar at the bottom here, okay? Right now it's reading completed because it's completed drawing, if you like, rendering to screen. Basically this is his mouse position here, and the time elapsed, the time taken for it to draw completely the screen in this case was 19 seconds, 0.42 milliseconds, okay? If I basically keep an eye on what's going on the bottom factor, okay, up and down, okay, I let go of the mouse, okay, and it starts calculating again, elapsed. So it's going to take, 16 seconds, whatever, but that's never a hard and fast rule, because some formulas will start counting down, then it'll start counting up again. And you'll also find that in the render, render to disk, or render to print, or whatever, and the render to disk, which you're going to cover in a sec. I want to save this and its parameters to the parameter file, so it's Command A. I'm going to call title Newton. Okay, and I'm going to save it. I'm going to save the UFR, so it's File, Save As, Newton. Okay, I'm going to save it to desktop here for the moment. Okay. Save to desktop. Okay, so now it should be safe. For the first time, really, since the beginning of the whole course, we're going to take a look at the toolbar. Okay. I just wanted to go back up to show you this again for a second. Okay, we know basically we haven't been using. By now you should be dead comfortable with the gradient without having to go up here and click on it. By just using Command 4 much quicker. Your mouse mode, okay, just your mouse is always there, so you know basically how to use rectangular selections and how to use the Julia switch, which was, if you remember, it was F7. Save parameters, which is our Command A. Browse is Command B. So Command A, Command B. Render to disk. Okay, let's close this. Okay, you can keep this open if you want. For me, I have a small screen of 1680 by 1050. This takes up a lot of space on it, so I keep it minimized. Render to disk. You can come up here, click on that if you've one of these, the large screen iMacs or whatever. I'm going to go hide toolbar. What I'm going to do to bring up the render dialog is I'm going to hit Command R. Okay, and Command R. There you go. So we have a series of options. I tend, depending on what I'm doing, okay, I tend to choose between one of two formats. At the moment you can see bitmap. I'm using bitmap a bit lately, but I prefer to use TIFF, which is a larger file. You know, bitmap and TIFF are both what they call lossless formats. In other words, you lose no pixel information by saving to them, where with JPEGs you do, there's a bit of lossiness is what it's called. If I want to save transparency in an image and save its layers, in other words, if I want to go into Photoshop and edit a multi-layered fractal with transparency, what I do is I choose the Photoshop format, which is PSD, and it'll give you a dialog saying export layers individually and export transparency information, and you know, I go okay. Or alternatively, you can use PNG, which also supports transparency. But here, yeah, you don't get layers. What happens is, if there's a bit of, say, transparency poking through in your image, what the PNG option does is it flattens the file, so you're going to get one layer, but it will keep that transparency information. And you can use it, but I mean, my image here is opaque. Okay, bitmap for the moment basically suits me fine, and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to upload this to the web in a second as an example. So what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to render at about roughly 3 times the size of what I want to use it on screen. Okay, say I'm posting to DeviantArt, I'm going to post basically the size. I personally posted a 1024 by 768, and for the portrait format, I basically everything I upload, portrait or square, will have a height of 900. Okay, since this is landscape, I'm going 1024. So I'm not even just roughing it out. I'm going to go 3500. Okay, which is roughly, it'll give me more or less three times the size of the image. Okay, I keep the resolution at 300. Okay, because what I'll do is I will save the image as a PSD once I've edited it in Photoshop. so I don't have any lossiness. You know, if I add frames, etc., they'd be there. And I'll save it in the larger size at a resolution of 300, so I can print, you know, I can print probably an A3 image perfectly with that kind of size. My anti-aliasing, I must have changed this earlier. This, you know, normal is fine. Threshold 1, okay. I think I changed that for an image I was doing earlier on. So leave that basically. Don't mess around with that too much, because I've never really had a problem with jaggies or anything with any ultrafractal image I've done in living memory anyway. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click render, which will bring up the render to disk dialog. We just leave this open until it's done, or you can pause it, close the program, and you can come back to it. You know, that's the beauty of ultrafractal. You can basically interrupt a render, and as long as you don't move the what was I going to say? If you don't move the image, I mean, well, I better actually explain that. If you use an image, okay, in one of the plugin formulas, okay, and you have a render in progress and you move the image somewhere, in other words, the image that you've loaded into the plugin, you're going to have a problem. Actually, even if you close the program, you pause the render, close the program, and then try to reopen the program, it's going to ask you for the image again. So just bear that in mind, okay? I tend to let things render out. There's no reason for me most of the time there's no reason for me to stop the render and close the program. Okay, but this is going to take about another 15 minutes. As far as I'm concerned, our work is done here. So I'm going to stop things here. And when I say the result of this, I'll close the program and I'll have my exported BMP file in this case on my desktop. So that's it for the tutorial. I said I'm basically just going to add a small video on the end of this as to some of the basic differences between the Windows version and the Mac version. Not that many really. Anything that I've thought in this tutorial can be transposed to Windows, so the Windows platform. You know, just by changing some of your commands to control and your option to alt. Basically, there's no really major differences. But I'll cover one or two which really pertain to the interface more than anything else. So thanks for watching. Hope you've learned a lot from it, and I think you know where to find me by now. If you'll find me on DA or on my page on Facebook or Redbubble, or you know, have my feet in a few different places. So you know, anytime, just pop in, ask a question. I'd be delighted to discuss it with you. Thank you.